how you felt about the challenge of being part of a band that at that time had already some international renown?
Well, it was to start with. It was a big honor to be able to join the band because at the time Europe was the one and only and well the first hard rock band to reach outside of Sweden. So obviously it was a big honor and a big opportunity for me to do what I wanted to do, to play professionally. So yeah, it was a big honor and also a big responsibility to carry the torch from the drummer Tony Reno, who played before me, and even to try and make a better work, to play even better. So yeah, it could not have been a bigger occasion for me. It was the biggest to happen to me in my professional career as a musician.
That's amazing, yeah. So you replaced Tony Reno on the drums, and then you started with Europe the recording of the next album that would be The Final Countdown in 1986. With that album, Europe achieved worldwide fame with you on the drums too. How was the process for the band of creating this album? What impact did it have on you as a musician?
Well, it was very. It was like stepping into a totally new world for me because before I joined Europe, I had never been in a professional recording studio. So basically, it was like stepping into a totally different, a new world. And also, we had the opportunity and the luck to be working with one of the greatest hard rock producers at the time, Kevin Elson, who worked with Journey, for instance, and well, a lot. We got to know him through the work with Journey. So I think he was in the studio. He was very much like a daddy for us. He told us what to do, and I have to say that the recording sessions really made me realize a lot of things about myself as a drummer. Before maybe I overplayed a lot before we did the Final Countdown album. I played too much. Tried to be a solo, play a drum solo all the time, and I realized that that's not the case. That's not what I'm going to do. I am the engine of the machine. So I have to carry it and lay down the grooves and the rhythm. So that was one of the biggest lessons that I learned, to not overplay and to be a part of the machinery rather than trying to stand out as a solo musician. So that was really one of the things. And also I think it was very interesting to be working in an environment, like a professional recording studio, because you learn that you had to change your perception on how to tune the drums, for instance, and perception on what kind of cymbals, and everything was totally different in the recording studio, and from the way that I was used to just playing the drums live. So there were a lot of interesting lessons, and moments where I got new wisdom from, sort of.
Yeah, after the application of the Final Countdown, six more years of work, and then Europe had a break in 1992, right? And then you started working in another project. So we want to know if you could tell us a little bit about the projects you were working on during that break in 92.
Yeah, of course. Well, right after we stopped touring with Europe, basically, I got in touch with my old band, the band that I used to play with before Europe, called Trilogy. So me and the guitar player got together and we started writing songs, and we recorded an album with that band, Trilogy. So that was one of the projects that I did, and that was really much fun, because it was all of a sudden I wasn't only the drummer, I was more involved in the songwriting and the whole creative process. So that was very interesting. And also we played, me and Mick McHaley and John Levin, also from Europe, we played on a couple of albums as well with different projects. One was called Brazen Abbott, and one was called Clockwise, and also with Glenn Hughes from Deep Purple. We did a couple of tours, and we went to Japan, and also recorded a live album in Japan with Glenn Hughes. So those were the more serious sort of projects that we were playing. Also, I played with a lot of different artists through the 90s, through the when we were in hiatus with Europe. So I got a chance to play with a lot of different musicians, which was, for me, useful, I think, because you learn to adapt to different situations and different kind of personalities. So I think that taught me a lot about being a musician and being a human being, basically, how to work with people.
Yes, I consider you had a great learning from that time during Europe's break. But then you decided to come back to the stage and music in 2003 with the album Star from the Dark, which marked Europe's definitive comeback with a new sound too. How do you feel as a band when you face with this challenge to change your 80s sound to a new sound at this new time of the band? What personal experience could you tell us about the making of Star from the Dark?
Well, when we decided to come back together, I remember we had a meeting, a group meeting, all five of us, and we were discussing what kind of a musical direction we should be heading for, or how we should proceed, because we knew very well that we had the expectations on us to be something like we were in the 80s, and we didn't want to fall for that trap. We agreed that if we're going to do this, we have to do it on our terms, and just let the music take us on the journey. And so we didn't really think too much about what kind of style we were going to work towards. We just started writing songs based on the inspirations that we had from the last 10 years before we had the break. So the music and the style just presented itself for us, and it was obvious that we were heading more back to the kind of roots that we were, the kind of bands and the kind of styles that we grew up with, and that was important to Europe when they first formed as a band. So therefore, I guess it got a little harder than what people might have expected from us. Not so many huge ballads and huge choruses and stuff like that we were used to from the 80s. But then again, it was a different time, and the sound, well, the way people listen to music, it was a different sound perception, basically. And so we just basically let the music take us in the right direction, and that has always been the most important thing to us in Europe since we reformed, to be just to write the music that comes out of our system, out of our souls, basically, without trying to make music, to fit to radio or try and make a hit song. We just write the music that we like, and so far I think we've been going upwards all the time since Start from the Dark.
Exactly. Some fans want to you sound as you sound in the 80s, 90s with your hits in that time, but they have to understand you need to upgrade your sound to make new music.
Yeah, that's right. And I think in the beginning, maybe the fans, the older Europe fans were a little bit confused with the sound that we had. They didn't really recognize what we were doing. But I think with time they realized that the musical journey that we were on, that and anything could happen along the way. And I mean, we have probably lost a lot of old Europe fans that had the expectations that we should sound like back in the 80s. But then again, I think we have gained a lot of new Europe fans along the way. Well, I know, because we can see a new generation of Europe fans in the audience. So that's really great.
Your last album, Walk the Earth, that is considered by many fans to be the best in Europe's new era. Could you tell us about the topics that are covered in this album? What were your contributions to it?
The way Joey writes lyrics, from what I understand, lyrics just comes to him through the music. He has a piece of music, and that inspires him to write about something. He picks up on a melody, and it sounds like something that has to do with, let's say, Vikings, for instance. So then it leads him into writing about in that kind of theme. So I think the songs are the music is taking him to whatever kind of theme the lyrics might be about. And also it was a great experience to record that album, because we were working in the legendary Abbey Road studios, the Beatles home ground, and well, every band has been, all the big bands from the 70s recorded there. So just the fact that we were recording in the same studio as Pink Floyd had made the Dark Side of the Moon, just it just made you humble as a musician and as a person. It was really really fantastic. So I think that was really inspiring to be in that environment in the Abbey Road studio, and also to be working with the producer Dave Cobb that we had on that album and the album before, War of Kings, because he had a very different way of producing music than we were used to with the producer from the 80s, where you back in the 80s, Joey or whoever wrote the song would bring a finished demo tape, which was basically what the finished song would sound like on the album with small changes. But with Dave Cobb, when we recorded the Walk the Earth album, he didn't want to hear any finished demos. He didn't want to hear a finished song. He just wanted to have bits and pieces, maybe a verse or a chorus, and then work out the song as we went along in the studio. And it was a bit different for us to work that way, but it worked. Once we were able to relax and to rely on his ability to get the things together, because in the beginning we were like, wow, we will never be able to get any songs together because we don't have any demos, we don't have any finished songs to work on. But it all worked out, and it was a good experience that way, to learning experience, that maybe you don't need to have a finished demo, just capture the vibe and the feeling of the song from the verse or from the chorus, and then work it out. And it, together with Dave Cobb, I think we made 2 very successful albums.
Recently in September, you released a new single, Hold Your Head Up, which gives us a message of encouragement and perseverance in the words of Joy Tempest against the difficult situations. About this topic, is this related to the topic that the band will touch in your new album that is announced to be published in the next years?
Yeah, well, the song was put together from Joey during the pandemic, from what I understand. So I guess the lyrics were inspired by the pandemics and the problems with that, and that you should
exactly
just go for it and hold your head up. And I know also that Joey wrote a lot of different other song ideas. I heard some of them, and some of them are really, really good. But we decided to release this single prior to the 40th anniversary tour that we just finished here in Scandinavia, and just to have a new song to present to the audience, because it's been 5 or 6 years since the Walk the Earth album came out. So we wanted to have a fresh song to present, and obviously we all the other songs we will be working on during this year or the upcoming year, and hopefully we will be able to go into the studio after next summer, I would say, because there's always a lot of touring in the summertime, and so there's not time to do everything. Yeah, but what we're looking at is a new album at the probably at the end of the year, or at the end of 2024 or early 2025. So it's a long process. You are far off in the future before you can promise any new album, but that's the way it is.
Exactly, Ian. That's amazing to hear that the new album is coming soon. It's good to hear it. The fans are waiting for new music from you. I wanted to talk a little bit about Latin America. In 2022, you made a little tour here. I knew this has become a frequent destination for you, for your concerts and tours too. Do you have any anecdotes related to Europe's concerts in Latin America? What do you think about the Latin fans?
Well, South America is one of the wildest, the craziest places to tour when it comes to the fans, because the fans are so passionate in South America. It's they're just so happy, and when they go to the shows, they just go crazy in a good way, and so energetic, and some of the most energetic concerts that we ever played in our career has been in South America. And I mean, we started already in, when was it? At the Viña del Mar in Chile in, was it
Exactly.
89, I guess? Or was it, yeah, 89 or 90, we were there. Yeah, it was great. That was, it was like a new experience to us. And we've come back a couple of times after that. And it seems like we have a very good relationship with the fans in South America. And they seem to be really sort of, loyal or die hard, I guess you call die hard fans. So we have a good fan base in South America, and I just wish that we could come there and play more shows, longer tours. I mean, the tours that we done there have been not so extended. So my hopes is to next time we come there to be able to do more shows in different countries.
I hope you can come back to Peru too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there are a lot of countries that we never even have visited yet. So there's a lot of new grounds to establish and to break for Europe.
That's amazing to hear, Ian. We are waiting for you in Latin America, especially in Peru. We are going to be waiting for you since now.
Yeah.
And finally, summarizing all your years with Europe, how do you consider the atmosphere in the band during the composition, recording, and touring process? Could you tell us any particularities about the members of the band, maybe?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's the thing with Europe is that it is the 5 different members and the 5 different personalities, for better and for worse, that makes, the unity that becomes Europe. So we are all different in certain ways, but we all complete each other and support each other and I think that is what creates the creativity and the brotherhood. And it's we are basically like five brothers. We fight and we laugh and we cry together, and we have, but at the end of the day we always hug each other and see you tomorrow, brother, love you. And so it's after all these 40 years of touring and playing and knowing each other, we still, and I would say even more so today, we appreciate each other as personalities and as band members than we did back in the 80s, when we started. So with age, you realize that the combination of us 5, it's very, very unique. It's very unique to have a band with different members that can be able to create music that touches so many people around the world. It makes us more and more humble, just knowing that we can still be doing this, after 40 years, and that Europe still matters to people, and that people still want to come and see us. It's just amazing. So Europe would never be the same with other members in the band. It is a unique combination of personalities, and that creates this rock and roll machine.
Finally, Ian, can you give us any previews or comments about that new album that is coming soon, or perhaps some news for Latin American fans?
Well, the only thing I can say is that we do have song ideas that we're working on, and that we are hoping to get into the recording studio at the end of 2024. Start recording in the autumn of next year, because we're going to be doing a lot of touring throughout the well, we're going to Asia now in January, and then well, during the summer we're doing a lot of festivals and stuff. So hopefully we will get into the studio right after next summer and have the album out early 2025. That's basically what I can say. I don't have any clue what it's going to sound like, unless that it's going to be a great rock and roll album. Otherwise, we won't release it.
Okay, Ian, I understand. So, thank you very much, Ian, for this interview. We are also hoping you come here to Peru.
Absolutely. I really hope that we can come soon.
Thank you very much, Ian.
Thank you. Bye-bye.